Okay, so we're back to our Lotus review, and we're very, very happy that today is already the fourth day since the master began the morning Dharma talk again. And as we was just singing, we hope to see master again. I'm sure we do, and we are. But I think it is the wish of all the disciples and for all sentient beings that we need to continue to carry on this torch and the teaching. Today, original programming was for Master De Huang to share with us her experience in the US after a trip she took to participate in the China, US, and Canada Buddhist Forum. And she'll be here a little bit late, so I will fill in the beginning. I'll fill in the beginning for a brief review of these past 3 days and 4 days, the talk, for the Dharma talk. And as we know that we are now in chapter 20, and it's the chapter talking about the never sliding bodhisattva. And I wanted to go through the background. I think there's not enough time to talk about what Master talked about in the first in the 4 days before today, or 3 days before today. But I wanted to make sure that we understand, or we sort of have a good, clear understanding of the background of what is happening right now. And so the key issues here is the 3 ages of Buddhism. And this is something that comes up and again. Ever since we come into chapter 20, Master has always been talking about the 3 different ages of Buddhism. And I think, okay, so the 3 ages of Buddhism is what Master has been talking about. And I wanted to get into the background of what they are. What are the 3 ages of Buddhism? How are they formed? And what can we do about it? Or what Master taught us about that we can do about it? So we're on to chapter 20 and talking about the 3 ages of Buddhism. And 3 ages of Buddhism, how are they formed and what can we do about it? That's what we're going to talk about. And the file actually has the 3 answers, but let's just go through. We have the first answer anyway. So the 3 ages of Buddhism are the age of Right Dharma, the age of Semblance Dharma, and the age of Degenerate Dharma. So what are they and how are they formed? The idea is, so the age of Right Dharma, what was it? Master said in the past couple of days, Master said that as the Buddha came to the world, taught us directly the Dharma. Through his mouth, through his teaching, through his actions, the Dharma and the teaching and the principles that he taught us directly. And at the time, the teachings were practiced. They were guided. They were also combined with the actions and the principles together. Now, when that is the case, then that's the age of Right Dharma. Okay, so that's through the teachings of the Buddha directly to us. Okay, so that's the age of Right Dharma. Now, what is the age of Semblance Dharma? So, so going back to the age of Right Dharma, the 3 components will be present, and that is the teachings will be present. Okay, so the teachings are the Dharma itself. The teachings will be present, and the actions of the teachings, they will be carried out and practiced. And most importantly, the proof, the evidence of this teaching. So if you think that the 3 components, right? There's the teaching, there's the action, and then there's a proof that this teaching by action is going to work. These are the 3 components that are very important. And in the age of Dharma, Right Dharma, all 3 are present. So it's almost like, if you think of it this way, there is a bank deposit that you have, or a bank account that you have, and you are working and you are depositing, right? You are saving money. All 3 parts are right there. Now, as we go through each age, 1 components begin to leave, right? For example, as we go into the age of Semblance Dharma, you continue to work. You still have work, and you still have the deposit in your bank account, but you are no longer saving the money. So you're earning $1,000 a month, but you're spending them all. So you're not putting any money in your bank account anymore. So you have the bank account still, you're still working, the teachings are there, you're still practicing, but there is nothing, there's no proof. You are not gaining, there's no spirit, there's no principles combining with the actions. And then in the age of degenerate Dharma is when there's still remaining, the remnants of teachings are still there, but there's no more practice, there's no more actions, and forget about the actual teachings and principles inside. So these are the 3 ages of Buddhism. And how did they come to be? Well, time. Because Buddha taught the first generation, and the first generation taught the second generation of the disciples. And as the teachings go on, it becomes longer and longer and further away. The biggest example I can give you that I can think of is, I'm 40 years old. Okay, I'm 40 years old. When I was growing up, the biggest NBA star that I remember was Michael Jordan. Okay, so if you talk about Michael Jordan, I think everybody here probably knows who Michael Jordan is, even if you're from Malaysia, right? You all know Michael Jordan, right? I hope you know, okay. Okay, so Michael Jordan, right? We mostly know that. We've seen him play in real person, right? I did. And it was amazing, right? But now, you ask the kids now, 15 years old, okay, 15 years old, younger generation, you ask them who is the greatest player, they're not gonna tell you Michael Jordan, they're gonna tell you somebody else. And yes, the history will probably say Michael Jordan is great, right? But for these people, we can tell our children, our people in the future, how great Michael Jordan is, and they'll probably believe you. They'll probably believe you, but they've never seen him play. And they don't know the magic that is involved in seeing him play. It's just all very different. They will still believe you because you tell them, because you are maybe wiser. Maybe you're more successful. So the people in the future believe you, but they will believe you with the slight deviation that, is he really that great? Or are you just mistaken? That's when the Dharma begin to decline, because second generation, third generation, and further on, they begin to be further and further away. Okay, so that's how the Dharma began to decline. And what can we do about it? And that's what this chapter is really talking about. This chapter is not talking about the Dharma is going down. This chapter is talking about what can we do to make the Dharma go back up again. That's what the never sliding Bodhisattva is teaching us. Okay, so not going into the reviews, you will know the background, so that will help you understanding what Master is talking about. It's not just about one person. It's not just about his actions. It's about the entire world in terms of entire age of Dharma. The Dharma is declining because of why, and the Dharma is going to be picked up because of how. And that's what this chapter is really about. It's not just about one person. It's not just about one particular time period. It's repeating itself over and over again. As it reaches the peak, it's coming down. And now this person is trying to get back up. And this is a cycle that is continuing. And we need to understand how it's declining. And we need to understand how we can bring it back up. And that's what this chapter is about. So Master Tzu Huang is here. And we're gonna skip right over to Master Tzu Huang's sharing, and let us welcome Master Tzu Huang to share with us. Thank you.
Good morning. 他已经有声音了吗？
有声音了，有声音了。是吧？这边会比较近一点。
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm back from US. Thanks, Brother Joe, and I have to call him Shi Hao, Brother Shi Hao. Yeah, and actually, I think today here we have around 20 people here. It's quite 很热闹，怎么讲？ Yeah, and thanks for giving me a chance to give the sharing about the trip to US, and I think the PPT that I prepare is not very prepared very well, but I try to do my best. Yeah, actually, because thanks for the beginning that I have received informed that I was invited to participate the 2019 China US Canada Buddhas Forum, which is the location is in the UN headquarters in New York. So very soon that we went through all the process to apply the visa to US. And luckily, we received the visa before I went to US 3 days ago. Yeah. So this is the second seminar that they held in US. The first they are having in the Canada. So 2 years later, they will have the third seminar or the Buddhist Forum in China. So they will take 2 years in one term. Yeah. So the mission for this year, this is the forum that aims to expand the positive impact of the Buddhist communities of the 3 countries, which is China, US, and Canada. And they want to promote the mutual understanding and the mutual learning between the Buddhism and modern civilization, which is we want to gather the strength to pursue goodness and to make sure our efforts to perpetuate the world peace. This is the main purpose that they're having this Buddhist forum. Yeah. And the theme for this time, they have 3. And the first is we are discussing about the mission and the responsibility of Buddhism in a community of shared future for mankind. And the second, we're going to having a discuss is about the enlightenment in the world and the spiritual and practical context of Chan Buddhism, Chan for Father Chan. And the third is the propagation and spread and development of the Buddhism. So do you think for our Jing board who participate to this forum, do you think this question, which one we are going to give the speaking? So for everyone, we know that Master actually is bringing us to do the living Bodhisattva, and we are working the Bodhisattva, and we are spreading the Dharma teaching. So for me, actually, it's very clear that the number 3, which is the propagation to spread and development of the Buddhism, this is the topic that we're going to give the sharing, which is given by our Master De Yuan. Yeah. So, and because we are invited, so our Master De Yuan will need to do need to give the presentation. And this is the topic that we're going to have. And I got a chance to learn with our Master De Yuan. This is very thankful that I got a chance to learn. Yeah. So, and the first day when we arrived in US, actually it took about 14 hours, the flight from Taiwan to US, which is we arrived there around nearly midnight. Yeah. So, and the next day early in the morning after the breakfast, we have a simple breakfast, and we are going to start to have our walking distance to the UN headquarters, which is take about 25 minutes. It's very quite near, close near to the UN headquarters from our living 住宿怎么讲？Actually, we are staying at the new building, which is we are having the in 那个开幕那个大爱人文中心 yeah. So it take about 25 minutes to go. Yeah. And at first, we received the temporary UN ground passes, which is just a piece of paper. We are attending the International Day of Older Person. Yeah, this is the first conference that we attend to participate. Yeah, and as well as we have this pass, we can go in very easily. Yeah, without any obstacles. Yeah. So, and this is the photo that we take in somewhere near in the campus of the UN headquarters. Yeah. So the 10th of October actually is also a public holiday in Taiwan. Yeah. So this is we are set out on a history entering to the UN headquarters, and which is this is the first step. There's having a Dharma master from abroad, yeah, to attend to enter this UN headquarters. Yeah. So here you can see this is the conference, and we are sitting right up here on the level, the second level, and you can see there's a lot of people. They are having a very discussion about. So here you can see that the reason why they are having this conference is like they are celebrating the 29th anniversary for this UNIDOP. And the theme for this year they're going to discuss is the journey of age equality. Yeah, which is they were going to focus on the pathways of coping with existing and preventing future old age inequalities. And they say is this older person are one of the greatest and often most overlooked and underappreciated resources, and empowering them is the key to ensure their inclusiveness and reduce inequalities. Yeah, so as we know, our master always say everyone should live with dignity and respect. And for year 2030, the agendas and for the UN, which is they're having the SDG program, which is recognized that to development will be only achieved if it is inclusive of all age. This year's the theme aligns with the goal 10, the number 10 of this SDG program, which is they are set to reduce inequality by eliminating discrimination and irrespective of age or other status, including the races or religions and so on. So this is on the day they are going to discuss and how they can to prevent the human right or the aging right for the older people. So they hopefully to gather the strength from all different NGO organization, which is they can help to do this to reduce the inequalities of older people for the society. Yeah, so they want to highlight the importance of the older people who are already contribute a lot of their life in the society. So I think it's just like masters always tell us that we must pay respect, and we must do, for the older people, we never forget the year, which is those older people who are contribute to the society. So 不要忘记那一群老人家曾经为社会付出. I think this is similar to our master's teaching. Yeah. So after the seminar, it took about 4 or 5 hours and for the half day in the morning. So after that in the afternoon, we got a chance to have a UN tour, which is that we are registered. So this is the group that we are going to visiting the UN tour with our Master De Ying, De Yue, and Yuan Zifu, and also the volunteers who came from Taiwan to the US for having the retreat training in American Tzu Chi, 就是美国慈济人的那个关怀团. So this is just quickly to go through. This is where we have been to. They have a reason for this building and for the design. So I'm so sorry that I can't give you a very clear definition or the briefing about this design for this building and the function of this building. Yeah. So, and here I would like to say is like, this is one of the demonstration classroom for the UNICEF, 联合国儿童基金. And which is the wall you can see is like they are saying they are using the recycling waste, especially for the plastic. They make it into the plastic bricks and to build a school for the children. And they hope that they can create a job opportunities and to help clean the planet. So this is what the UNICEF they have done. And actually for our Tzu Chi, we also have this kind of eco-friendly products, which is already, we also already have produced and we already started to use in our hospital. We are having our interlocking bricks from which is produced by using the plastic waste, yeah, in Hualien hospital as well. So you can see that our masters have a very bright and wise view. Is beyond others. And so we are a very so proud that I follow our master. Actually, we are is going in front of the 走在最前端，跟得上人。This I want to say. So and here in this area, there's a lot of photo frames, which is they hang on with different kinds of a sentence, which is regarding the human rights. Yeah. So here they're also having a display for the legacies of the war after World War and so on. So we can go through because the UN, they start to found the UN United Nations after the Second World War. So this is the reason why they want to gather all different countries, which is more than nearly 200 countries to participate as union members, and they want to do the to let the country and live in peace and harmony. So they want to have a very have a consensus and to do the same action. This is what Master say. Yeah. So and the following day in the morning, we have to, because the first we only received the temporary card, the paper to attend the older person conference. And now here we are standing right in front of this building. Is like we have to get this the blue card, which is we can enter to the UN building within a Sunday to Monday, and for around 2 weeks. This is the temporary pass that we have. So once we get this pass, we can you can go in and out and very easily. And you can, if there's a space for you to enter to the conference, you can. Is always free of seat, and you can just go there and listen to learn and to see. So this is kind of convenience for us. So this is also me and Master Cheng Yen, we received this pass. Yeah. So after that, after this morning, we get this one, and then in the afternoon, we are having the second discussion and a meeting with this group, which is with the help of the Tzu Chi UN Special Investigation Team, 慈济的联合国小组. They are helping us and to invite all different religions organizations, which is they have a representative from the Baha'i international communities or the Dongzhenjiao Eastern Orthodox Church, or the 信仰组织中心, 信仰组织, the conventions organization, and we are having the interaction regarding the issue of climate change and how we can do within our organization. So me myself and I will sharing to them about the simple life in the Jing abroad, and include that we are having the greenhouse building and how we conserve water or we save the energies, and including the rainwater, how we use it, and how we reuse, or even though for the compost or the fertilizer that we collect from the food waste and so on. This is the PPT is show a lot of photos to them and include some of the master's teaching, and I share to them by using English. This is the first time actually I was officially using my poor English in front of them and to try to share our Jing abroad. We also are very eco-friendly, and this is what we do. And for Master Cheng Yen, she also to present about the Jing product, and because since she have more than 10 years working experience in our daily production, and she also sharing how we do for the international relief for the instant rice and so on, and when we have a distribution of the instant rice for the disaster victims. Yeah. So, and actually, like Master say, even though we might not be impacted directly due to the climate change regarding, a lot of the four unbalanced natural elements in the world, well, we are affected because we all live under the same sky and we are on the same earth. This is what Master say. So actually, for the theme of the topic for the discussion is like they saying it's time for living the change and the role of faith in addressing the climate crisis. And we want to gather everyone's opinions and to see how we can do better for the climate action or how we can act from now and all how we can do the changing of our living and to make the climate change can get reducing the risk risk reduction 减灾 project. So, and the important day, this is another the day for, and actually we have roughly about 500 of the Buddhist delegation from China, US, Canada, or some representative from the academia 学术界 or the special guests to participate in this forum. So me and Master Cheng Yen, because we are not Taiwanese, so we are holding the Malaysian passport. Actually, not just two of us, but there are few of us are considered as a special guest because we are from Taiwan and to participate this forum. And this is very exciting that we got a chance to have a speech in this international platform. Yeah. This is the opening for the Buddhist forum, and here, right here, there's from we can see all the monks and they are came from Canada, US, and China, and we have a group photo. This is before we have lunch. Yeah, and actually. Since for the three teams, we are going to carry on for the whole day. So actually, we have 25 speakers, and each of us only have 6 minutes to present for our topic. Yeah. So, and you can see here, of course, they have lay practitioners or the academias people or the nuns or monks. And you can see for our Master Cheng Yen, Master De Yuan, she is the among or out of the 25 speakers, actually our Master Cheng Yen was the only bhikkhunis who gave speech. So actually, when Master Cheng Yen, she was on the stage and starting going to prepare to give her speech, and when I was down and in my place, and I was so touching, and it's quite like I think it's not easy because we are actually for all the volunteers who have been put a lot of efforts in doing the formations and the footprints and for carry on to do the charity or everything, and we are just only to give a 6-minute speech, and I have to 包含就是大家做了那么多，我们就要6分钟。其实 this is we only the person who gives speech, but the person who are taking action is actually is all of you, the volunteers. So I'm very touched. Is like we under the teaching, the guiding from Master Cheng Yen, and we are, really to living up the Buddha's teaching, and we are truly do what we say what we do. So this is very touching because actually, to be honest, for the whole day, I'm not really very understanding for others, monks or the people who give the speech because they all hardly or rarely to give a very 怎么讲那个比较没有实际的那个 only the theory. Majority they are giving the speeches in theory rather than the action or they've been done. They do have, but not much. Yeah, this is what I want to. Yeah. So actually, the last but not least, as this is I copied from the 2 years ago where in the Canada forum before the ending the Buddhist forum, and they're saying that we have this remarkable and outstanding chance together here because we worship the same Buddha and we learn the same teaching and share the same origin and religion's lineage. So is it the same to our Sangren, which is bring us to go to the same path, and we are actually going to the Jing Dharma lineage, and we are practicing and in the society. So this is the last photo that before we leave the UN headquarters, and this is our team members who are accompany us and to attend this forum. So thanks for giving me a chance to give a briefing about this my journey in US. So I think I pass it to Brother Tzu Hao.
Thanks to Master De Huang, and I think we're gonna, okay. Thanks to Master De Huang for the wonderful sharing, especially about the part where out of the 25, there's only one bhikkhuni, and the content, I think the most important is to bring Buddhism, the Buddha's teaching, bring it to the world so that they understand, so that more people can understand. And it's not just one particular sect of the teaching, it's the teaching. So, and that goes in line with what we are talking about. So the three periods that we talked about, the 3 ages that we talked about earlier, is the age of Right Dharma, the age of Semblance Dharma, and the age of Degenerate Dharma. And the whole key point here is in the age of Semblance Dharma and the age of Degenerate Dharma, people begin to sort of not quite understanding. We still do. We still look. There's still bhikkhus and bhikkhuni. There's still sangha community. There is still everybody doing their practices. There's still the bowing practice. There's still the incense. There's all these chanting, all these different schools of Buddhism. They're all still present. But just how much of what we see is truly connected to the teachings that brought us back to the age of the Buddha. And that was the key. So Master also told us that these 3 ages aren't actually about time. It's not about 1,000 years afterwards or 2,000 years afterwards. Yes, in the book, it's written that way. But Master said it's also in our heart. Are you, at the time that you remember the teaching, that's the time of Right Dharma. The time that you lose it, you are saying thank you, but you don't really mean it. That's the age of Semblance Dharma. You are doing the form and action because Master teach you to do so, right? You are in the distribution and then you bow. And then in your mind, you're thinking, I don't know why I'm bowing, but I'm just doing it because everybody's just doing it. That's called the time of Semblance Dharma. And eventually it goes into the Degenerate Dharma is when you don't even do this, right? You just give them the rice and you're done with it because the rules and what we have carried on, our customs and our rituals and all of that is already gone. It's already missed. So that's the 3 different ages. So, but we go into the teachings a little bit more. So these are directly taken from Master's morning Dharma talk. And Master talks about the age of Right Dharma and what they are, right? Buddha came to the world and taught us directly. The Dharma came directly from the Buddha, and everyone followed the teachings. Not just to follow the teachings, not just listen to the teachings, but practice the principles. Like what Master De Huang was talking about. Master De Yuan and Master De Huang went to the UN and they share the principles and how we actually put them into practice and how we combine all the worldly affairs, right? Not just about the environmental protection issues, but also about our humanitarian efforts, also about our efforts to try to purify the minds and purify the heart. That's the key, right? That's the key. So that's very important. Age of Right Dharma is when all these things are present. The teachings is present, the teachings are present, the practice itself is present, and the combining of the teachings and the principles, where in each one of them they're able to prove each other, is also present. Okay. So Master also continues In the age of Right Dharma, three components will be present. That's what we talked about. The proof is essentially the actions and the teachings combining together. Okay, so these are the three components. But when you go into the age of Semblance Dharma, and I really believe that it is not about, it's not about the period of 1,000 years. So Master this morning talks about, the age of the Right Dharma. It's about 1,000 years, and then it goes into the age of Semblance Dharma, right? So it's not on the last day of the 1,000 year, right? So after the Buddha had passed away, on the 999th year, the 364th day, 23rd hour and the 59 minutes, 59 seconds, you are still talking about the age of Right Dharma. It doesn't work that way. And then the tick over into the 24th hour, into the 1,000th year, the first second, and it all of a sudden becomes the age of Semblance Dharma. It doesn't work that way. You lose a little bit one at a time. You slowly lose, you slowly fading. Okay, so in the age of Semblance Dharma, in this age, Master says, what you see resembles Dharma, looks like the Sangha, right? The community of the practitioners looks like the Sangha, but the principles are practiced loosely. It's no longer upheld strongly and tightly. It's now loosely. Yeah, you can wear that clothes. Yes, you can put your hair that way. Yeah, it's okay. You can do this on the Saturday and Sunday, but don't do this on the Monday and Friday. That kind of practice loosely. The form is still present, but the principles are slowly fading. So everybody is doing the motion, but if you ask them why, they don't know. Or they can loosely explain to you, but if you ask deeper, if you ask more, they'll just tell you, because my master told me so. So the principles are slowly fading. You know you're doing this, but you don't know why. You know you have to, but you don't like it. And eventually, that the distance between you and the original teacher, which is the Buddha, becomes longer and longer. You still look up to the Buddha and you still pray to the Buddha, but you have no connection to the Buddha. And this is true. I can share with you, this is my true experience, that I regard Master Cheng Yen as my teacher, but I don't regard, because I lose a connection to the Buddha. So yes, I went to the temple when I was little, and I bow and I pray to the Buddha, but I don't feel that I received the teaching because the Buddha never spoke to me, right? It was my teacher, Master Cheng Yen, that taught me. So I imagine after 100 years, the disciples of that time is going to look up to his teacher, and he's going to look up to Master Cheng Yen, maybe in one of the photos. Maybe it was a hand, maybe it was the photo of Master looking on everybody practicing or bowing. But they would look at Master Cheng Yen as someone far, far away. Yes, I regard you as the origin of our Dharma lineage, but I really don't know you. And that's what this slowly fading is talking about. I am close to you, but I don't really know you. It's more like your grandparents. Well, if you're brought up by your grandparents, then you're very close to them. But it's more like your great-grandparents or your great-great-grandparents, where they give you the your bloodline and your lifeline, but you don't really know who they are. And that's when the fading begins. The fading begins. That's what we talk about Michael Jordan, right? The fading begins. He hasn't even died yet. I mean, he's still here, but we already slowly fading and not remembering. So Master said the teachings are still present. The teachings are still here. Disciples follow the teachings with the motions and actions, but the principles and actions are hardly merged. So no longer are you doing something, and that doing carries the principles. Like you're doing something and you're so convicted, and you're doing this with full passion. No longer. You're only doing the actions because you're told to do so. And I will be first to admit that, my parents, they would celebrate a lot of the lunar month celebrations, and they would tell you this particular day, you're supposed to pay respect to the ancestors. This particular day is the birthday of so-and-so deity and stuff like that, right? And I would be just, holding up the incense and say, yes, I will be paying my respect. But if you ask me what day and why and how, I would have no idea. If my parents didn't tell me to do that, I would not do that, right? So imagine right now we have three major celebrations, right? One is the year-end blessing, right? One is the Buddha's birthday, right? And the other one is the lunar 7th, the lunar July celebration, right? So we're all doing this because everybody's doing it. And we sort of understand why we're doing this. But imagine 100 years from now, they will still be having these celebrations, but they might not know why. Because they didn't go through the time where everybody was burning incense, right? No one. They were burning paper money. We still were there. We were still here when people are burning paper money. Maybe after 100 years, it wasn't the burning of the paper money. So why are they still carrying out, or the ghost month? We're talking about the ghost month, the month of ghosts coming out in July. We're talking about that right now. Maybe 100 years later, they already proved that ghosts don't exist. And therefore, they don't have to worry about that. So now they're having this auspicious July, lunar July. And they were like, why are we doing this? Oh, I don't know, because my parents, they did this. And that's when this age become, the practice and the principles are no longer merged, because the reality and the teachings are already separate, okay? So then it goes into the age of degenerate Dharma. In this age, you only see the remnants of the form, right? You see the Buddha statue, you see all these statues, but you don't know what they teach, okay? You don't know what they teach. And this is very true when I went to Nepal, and on the ground where the Buddha was born, right? You have the groundskeepers there, and they hardly understand that they know that this is a tourist site. They know that many people come to pay respect, but they don't really know the person that were born here, the Buddha himself, Lord Buddha himself that was born here. Why was he famous? They don't know. They don't know the teachings. And this is the case. The form is here, the buildings are here, the temples are here, but the Dharma is already not here, okay? So this is the world, okay? So how are they formed? And very quickly, I'm gonna go through that. So these are all just background. Now that we understand the three periods, in 3 ages, how they form, and this is very simple. Master explained this very, very clearly. It's not anyone's fault. It's natural that the first generation of disciples, they received teaching directly from the Buddha. So they have a very direct, they listen to the Buddha's talk and they would cry. I remember the day 2 days ago when we received our blessings from our master to become the first generation of the pure practitioners or the disciples, Jing I cried. I remember the words. I don't remember what master said because I just remember crying. And I remember she talking, but I don't remember what. But that was a very personal connection. But after the Buddha entered Nirvana, after the Buddha already passed, the second generation disciple, they will receive the teaching from us. We will be telling them, this is what Master Cheng Yen said. This is why we do certain things. Our uniform looks this way, or Brother Youping, who is Si Ping, Brother Si Ping's what he wears. That's our uniform. But they would not have walked the path of past 12 years, where the uniform goes from the first version of the uniform and goes on to the, I don't know what iteration this is. I don't know. This is after 12 years later. So there's so many. I have one closet full of uniforms, all failed. Okay, so this is the final version, and it's not final yet, right? So the connection is already very loose. The second generation disciple received the teaching from the first generation, and they will still practice the teaching sincerely. They will carry through, but there will be slight deviations. The feelings will be a little bit different, and the understanding will be a little bit off. And that's what Master talks about. You miss by a little bit, then you're gonna go into very far and off. You're gonna be off very much. So what can we do about it? And this is what this chapter is all about. It tells you the settings of all the things that's going really poorly right now. And what can we do about it? So Master says, as the age of degenerate Dharma is nearing, everything is changing, right? The Dharma is changing in the way that people understand the Dharma. Dharma itself isn't changing. The Dharma of how people understand is changing. The practice is changing. The Sangha is changing. At this time, all of a sudden, there is this Bodhisattva whose name is never sliding. During this time of crisis, when everything is decaying, he tried to reintroduce the Buddha Dharma to the world. And how did he do it? That's the key of chapter 20. So all the things that we listen to from Master Cheng Yen, she tried to paint this picture of the bigger setting. And then it goes, and now we understand the bigger picture. Now we understand everything that this Bodhisattva is trying to do is to reintroduce the Buddha Dharma to the world. So we understand again what the Buddha was trying to teach. So I always think that this is what Master Cheng Yen's mission is to reintroduce. It's not to reinvent. The Buddha Dharma and the Buddhism is not to be reinvented. It's to reintroduce to the world what the Buddha teaching was 2,500 years ago. After all this time, let us reintroduce this to the world. And that's the key setting for this chapter. And everything from then on, all the things that hopefully will begin to merge the setting, this is our world right now, and what we need right now, okay? So that's what I want to share with today. And I apologize